So obviously clean coal is a big discussion these days. I mean, I will never probably use that term again. I don't think it's clean. We don't believe in the technology as a clean technology. That being said, carbon capture and sequestration is part of the discussion that's going on at the state level. I think we have two thoughts. One, if businesses want, if the companies and utilities want to invest in carbon capture and sequestration to capture, as we're closing down power plants over the long term, those sources of energy and capture that global warming pollution, they should invest in it. But I don't think it's where the government should be putting money. Coal companies are doing fine. They have money and they can invest in their own technologies. That's the first thing. The second thing is I don't think it's an excuse to build new coal plants. We should not be building new coal plants in this state. I know, like I said, I know sometimes the unions and us just don't agree on everything. I'm happy to agree to disagree on stuff. But we should not be using this technology to invest in new coal plants. The third thing I'd say is that you get the capture and sequestration technology, if it works, is so expensive. You'll get more bang for your buck out of putting money into renewables and solar and wind. And so what we'd rather see them do is put money into those technologies. If it's concentrating solar, then you need a boiler still, so you're still going to have work. If it's not concentrating solar, then let's retrain workers. We're full support of putting money and investing money in worker retraining programs to take on these new jobs. If an economy's got to change, we've got to teach people the new skills so they can go to work on that, and we can't be stuck in an older mindset. So I think over time, we definitely have to get away from coal. We have to continue to work to get away from coal, and at the same time, we have to continue to work to put our workers who are in the coal, putting the power plants to work today, to get them so that they can have the same good-paying jobs in the new green economy without those coal plants. And that's going to take money, and that's going to take resources, and that's going to take time. But no one's saying we should shut down all coal power plants tomorrow.
I would just say that knowing today that 51% or more of our energy on an average day comes from coal, and if the goal is by 2020 to get 20% of our sources of energy from renewable sources, then the other 80% are still going to come from fossil fuels. Maybe 40% still come from coal. I think that our goal should be to not see coal all in the same light, but to kind of segment coal. First and foremost, old coal power plants are far worse than the newer ones that have been built in the recent years. So doing everything we can to keep the old plants offline is step one. Step two is if we're not going to necessarily, I know there'll be federal investments. I believe there will be federal investments in CCS, carbon capture and storage in the federal energy legislation. If that happens, I'd love to see us have the American ingenuity to do it and invent it and help us transition. But I think the reality is that so long as we use energy in America the way we do, then we have no one to blame but ourselves if we're going to continue to use coal as a primary source of energy. Even 50 to 70 years in the future, I think coal is still going to be there. It's going to be still some portion of our energy signature because of its reliability, its ability to be a backup. But the harsh benefits or the harsh cost to using coal, like poisonous emissions and its high carbon dioxide output, means we better get to the bottom of mitigating those or trying to phase it out for the long term. There's no guarantee that the technologies we want to use to replace coal will necessarily be located in the same places where our coal plants or coal fields are now. So we better have a plan in place to put people to work who are living in the coal fields, who go to work every day in the mine. If we're going to stop taking coal from the ground to burn it to make energy, then we can't leave those workers and those families behind. We've got to find ways to invest in their communities and provide a means for raising their family and making a living. And we got to get them to stop thinking that coal is the only answer.